All right. Hello, everyone. Let me rotate so I'm more in the light. There's a painting I made actually. I think that's my first actual painting, maybe second, but I like it. So it's hanging on my wall. I'm proud of it. But that's not today's topic. This is my first video. I've recorded probably 13 takes of different ideas, and I didn't like any of them. I settled upon one I really liked, and I was listening back to it, and I was like, this is sounding an awful lot like Dwayne Knoll from Dry Creek Wrangler School because it's a topic he covered a lot. And I found out while listening to it, I realized I was like, that's why the analogy is so good. That's his analogy he used. And I was like, I can't do that. I draw a lot of inspiration from him, but I don't want to downright copy him because he's someone different than me, and his philosophies are great and deserve respect, and respect is not ripping it off with no credit. So this is something else actually that I've been thinking of. And I was at work today, and if you don't know, I work for um, the athletics department of the college I go to, and I work for the recording department, so I'm a cameraman there. But I also work the I also work the UNL feedlot. Um, incredible facility, world's largest research feedlot. I work doing a bunch of different things there, but I work two jobs, and they're both completely opposite sides of the spectrum. And another video, sneak peek, another video I want to touch on is actually finding experience everywhere and applying it everywhere. And it will talk about using experiences from both those jobs and how they actually intermingle despite being two different fields. But that's not what I'm talking about now. What I'm talking about now is resting before you are done. I'm going to take a drink real quick. I just turned 21, and to celebrate, my my mom got me a wonderful bottle of Steepleton. What is it? Steeple Ridge is what it's called. Now I don't drink often, and I don't ever get drunk. From personal philosophies and drunkenness itself is the sin, but drinking is not. So I like drinking, and I don't ever get drunk. And I might talk about it at some point, um, but every now and again, I do like to relax with a nice drink. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing, so long as you do it correctly. So that's also another video at some point. So we have ideas, but relaxing, not relaxing. It does go hand in hand, but resting before you are done. Um, Now, I worked for a wise man, Todd Danhauer. I worked as a farmhand. He's a very good guy. And one thing he liked to say is leave no work for tomorrow that can be done today. And I'm not saying resting before you are done is pushing it off to the last minute or um, pushing it off for the next day and having the next day never come. This is completely doing your task, knowing you're doing your task, but resting right before you turn it in, to turn it in on a clear mind. What do I mean by that? Let's illustrate with this. The best steaks are always rested before they are served. It allows the fat to render back into it, leaving a juicier steak. It allows it to cook in its own internal temperature, allowing it to finish where it needs to go. Before you turn something in, before you finish that last work, take a moment and rest. Your mind is going to already be a million miles per hour. You're not going to be able to think clearly before you turn something in. I personally do a lot of writing. One of the things I wrote was a short story I'm very proud of. It's not published anywhere, but it's called The Joys of Young Love, all right? I did write that for a class. And this one I was actually early on. I wrote it, and I really wanted to turn it in the second it was done. But something told me just wait a bit. sit back. And I was like, okay. So I allowed myself some rest. And I sat back, and I can't remember what I did, but it was something small, just something to take my mind off of things. It might even have been folding laundry. But I sat back, I waited just a bit, I looked at it, and when I was going back and rereading it, I tweaked some things. And I can't tell you exactly what I tweaked, but ultimately it made the short story better for it. Um, it helps. Sometimes you have to render in your own juice to be a better product. Let's say you're studying. You're studying relentlessly. You're taking information a million miles per hour. Things are just going by, lesson after lesson after lesson. When you're walking to class, you can't read the writing if your mind's going a million miles per hour. There's writing on the wall back there. You won't be able to read it. It's just a blur, a line as you pass by. But if you ease off your acceleration, you don't have to press the gas, you don't have to pop it into neutral. Ease off the acceleration, let your mind coast to a good steady speed, and then you can put your foot back down again when you're ready to turn it in, or when you're ready to finish your work. But let yourself coast to see what that writing said. Let yourself coast to see what towns are coming upon, what direction you need to turn. Those highway signs are there for help, but you can't read it if you're going past 100 miles per hour. You can't take in all the information you need to. You gotta slow down. You have to rest a little bit before the work is done. Specifically, this is specifically for the end, with the end in sight. Rest a little bit. When you're making a blade, it goes through a lot of heating, it goes through a lot of hammering, and then it comes to the quench. Say you're quenching, now I'm no bladesmith, no blacksmith. I've watched a lot of stuff on it, but I'm not either of them, okay? But let's say you're quenching in water. Water is harsh for quenching, but it's good. Say you're quenching in water, and you heated your metal, you hammered it, you heated your metal, you hammered it, you heated your metal, you hammered it. Tons and tons of stress put on the metal, and the entire time it's just in the forge, hammered in the forge again. That grain in the metal is going to be very tight. Maybe not tight, very stressed. The grain in the metal is going to be very stressed. When you go to quench that blade, it's going to crack. That blade's going to crack, may even snap or warp or bend. How do you correct that? You let your blade rest through a process called tempering. You take it, you heat it up in the forge to where you normally work on it. You let it drop back down to room temperature. You let that metal rest till it's cool again. And what that does is it relaxes the grain inside of the blade, inside the metal. And sometimes you do that once. Sometimes you do that twice, 3 times. And eventually, when your metal is ready, you quench it. And that steel will harden. You'll be able to drag a file across it, skate clean through. You can sharpen it, you can finish it. But allow your blade to rest before you finish it, before you quench it. Give it that moment. Let it cool down. If you look at it like that, doing a research paper, studying for an exam, they're not all that different from building your blade, all right? You're in the heat the entire time. When it's hot enough and you have your idea, you hammer at it. And then when your mind's so kerfuffled and your fires have quelled a little bit, you take your cool blade, you put it back in the fire, you read a little bit more, and once the idea is fresh again, you hammer at it a little bit more. Now, what's saying you don't put your metal back in the fire and read some more. And instead of just hammering on it right away, you take it out and you let it cool with what you've read. And while it's cooling, you think things over a little bit. Chew your cut on it, get a solid idea where you want to go, how you want to finish it. Once it's cool to the touch, you put it back in that fire and you quench it. Now, let me take another drink. Cheers. That's very nice. This obviously doesn't work in every scenario. And it's trial by fire, learning where it works and where it doesn't. It's also a lot of just judgment, experience, intuition. But it's not applicable everywhere. And I know that. I will concede that. However, when you can, you should utilize it. It is a good tool to have in your back pocket. Just to sit there and say, the work is almost done. Here comes the fiery, vital part. I'm going to rest. And let's take a look at the greatest creator we have, God. God didn't rest halfway through. He didn't rest on the first day before he started. God labored day 1 through 6. And on the 7th day, when he said, all is good, and he said, mankind, is very good, he rested, and he took that moment. Now, he could have told the scribes who translated the Bible through the years to leave it off at the 6th day. At the 6th day, creation was good, everything was approved of, it was finished there. But no, to finish out the week, before the week was completely done, he took a moment to rest. Before your week is done, before your work is done, take that moment, rest, finish it. It all will be very good. Beyond just good. Very good. Alright? I think if I add any more to that point, I'm going to be talking myself in circles. I think that is a good point to end it on. So, remember, resting after it's done is always an option. Alright? Well, most always an option. Let's not say that. Sometimes the rest shouldn't be saved till after your project is done. Sometimes you need to rest right before it's done. And if you can rest after, perfect. But if you have the opportunity to take a moment, rest before it's done, go into your final task with a clear mind, knowing where you want to go, take that opportunity. And you'll be amazed at those results. I suppose I'll add one more bit. And this could change in my final year of college with the semesters coming up, knowing the courses I have to take. I have to start doing biology and chemistry. Oh no. But one of the things I did is, I joke about it saying I never studied. But if I studied, it wasn't really last minute. I'd study a little bit before, and that last minute, I'd take a little bit of time to reflect on what I've studied, to clear my mind, and then enter the exam with a clear mind. And I would, as I put it, I'd pray and walk in. I'd take that moment beforehand, rest, pray. Once all is good, walk in. And I'd take my exam. And it worked out. I passed those classes. Some of them I did very well on. Very good, even. So, take the moment, clear your mind, and rest before the work is done. So, I'll leave you with that. Cheers. I'll talk to y'all later.